What is going on, folks? I am Goat, and welcome back to Warframe. That wasn't what I was trying to do at all. That's cool. So, with a needle and thread. So, I've been doing, and I said for the longest time I wasn't going to do tutorial-style videos, but honestly, I kind of do see a bit of a necessity for them, but not in a specific sense. Like, not in, here's how you build one specific Warframe and one specific weapon and so on and so forth. I think that's a little redundant. Bordering on beyond my purview. And I have a very, very specific reason for saying that, honestly. It really comes down to, it's because I keep saying that this game is very subjective in how we all play it, right? How the fuck is my volume out? Loud as shit. Oh, that's why. Anyway. Oh, we kind of need that up, don't we, I think? Just in case we go into any missions or anything. Specifically, I'm going to do a 5-part video bit here, okay? Video number 1 is going to cover the mod bench, modding Warframes, and modding weapons, okay? We're going to do other videos. It's going to be 5 total. It's going to be one on vehicles, which entails quite a few things. It's going to be one on companions. That might be a little shorter, but we'll talk about it. There's going to be one about specifically Railjack. And then, although Railjack does kind of fit into the vehicle category, it's a vehicle all in itself with its own modding system and a specific mechanic. And then we're going to talk about the operator. But for this video, we're going to do weapons, Warframe, and the mod bench. Now, for any new players who are absolutely fucking lost, existing players are going to know the basic layout of your ship. Okay, but let's just cover this from the get, because I've done one video of if I would give a new player any advice, and I realized that it was quite the lacking video, okay? So your navigation. This accesses your basic star chart, which is also known as the origin system, okay? But that's how you access the star chart. Over here is news. That is the conclave. I would probably avoid that with all hopes and dreams of any manner, because it's kind of trash. Over here are syndicates, which are not just these 6 syndicates. A lot of people don't realize this, but if you just tab over, you have access to the Ostrons on Cetus and Quill Onku. You have Fortuna, so you've got Solaris United, Vox Solaris, and the Vent Kids. You've got the Entrati family, and you've got Necroloid, and then you have Miscellaneous, which is Cephalon, Samaris, and the Conclave. So it is what it is, right? Right there's your Railjack Plexus. This is the Codex. A lot of people don't understand the Codex, okay? Quests are simple. The universe, these are all the scans that you've done, Kuvaliches that you've done, Sisters of Parvos that you've done, art galleries in general, Warframes and vehicles, every fucking mod in the game. Now, it doesn't tell you what the mods do, but it tells you where to get them. It tells you what arcanes do, the weapons are, fragments, and so on. So, like Cephalon fragments, right? Or just in general, right? Fragments. Look at that, man. And I still have plenty to go with fragments. There's some I do have. Like, there is. There's some I don't. And I'm okay with that. Totally okay with that. Love it. The Lavarian is just a storytelling of different Warframes. Training is just literally explaining missions as far as what the mission types are, what each thing is. I'm sorry, because missions is right there. Training is just information about the game. It's like an extra tutorial that you can go through. You can look at each one. Advanced movement, basic movement, advanced melee, mod, and upgrades. All of this stuff is here at your disposal. And then missions cover what each mission type is. Okay? Seriously, what each mission type is. So, it's okay. It's all here. Then you have Nightwave. Definitely a thing to focus on. This is, as far as we know right now, this is a Vitruvian reader, and then you have the base market where you can go get boosters, you can buy weapon blueprints. A lot of people get confused with this. Like, if you go look at weapons, let's say you look at primaries. Well, if you point at one, yeah, it says 240 plat, right? Let's go for something that we know we can get. The Braton. That says 25,000 cred, so let's not use the Braton. Let's look at the Cernos. Yeah, here the Cerno says it's 225 plat, but if you click on it, you can see blueprint right here, and then you can see what it takes to build the damn thing. So don't get confused that everything is off of platinum base and this is just a pay-to-play game. It is absolutely not. Down here we have our foundry, we have our robotic sentinels bench there, or segment or section or whatever you would like to call it. We have our animal, our incubator. We have our mod bench. We will definitely go over that. And then we have our arsenal here. No point in going over anything else at the moment. So let's go to a base frame. One of the two starting base frames, right? Let's use Volt. Perfect example. Let's use Volt. So when you first start the game, this is what you see. This is no polarizations. This is no nothing. So when you first start the game, let's say you choose Volt. You start out with 100 armor, 150 energy, which by anybody who's played this game for any period of time, we all know that for that amount of energy for Volt is a joke. Really is. You get 300 health, 450 shields, and then all of your abilities are set at 100%. So that means that that's just what they do base. Okay, that's their base function. So how do you mod a Warframe? Okay, well, obviously, when you first start out, you're not going to have all these different fucking mods. Okay, you're not. These are specifically Warframe-only mods. Okay, so you're not going to have all these. I wish there was a way I could just make them disappear. I don't think I can. Yeah, no, there's not. So, but you get flawed mods early in the game. As you get further into the game, I still have people questioning me on, well, what's best for this and what's best for that? It can be a valid question, okay? As you progress further into the game, you get the opportunity of further mods, something like, hybrid mods, something like aerodynamic is a mod, aerodynamic and arbitration and adaptation or something can come from arbitration. Augur mods come from Cetus bounties. Some are just mission drops, more hybrid mods here, bounty drops here. Combat discipline is another one that comes from arbitration. Drift mods come from Halls of Ascension. I mean, there's all sorts of places you can get mods. Aura mods you can most easily find, not all of them, but the base aura mods you can easily find through Nightwave, which is why Nightwave importance is key. Building up cred with Nora is absolutely key because you can come across some really good mods, like, just for example, just for base point value alone, something like Steel Charge. As far as I've seen thus far in this game, Steel Charge is the highest capacity power draw. Now what you'll see here is 60 points. You won't see 60 points. You'll see 30 when you're first starting out. And that is because I have an Arcane Reactor on a Warframe. Or on this Warframe. Okay? What an Arcane Reactor does is that this is your point value allowed to the Warframe. So the Warframe has a total of 60 points with an Arcane Reactor on it. Without it, it only has 30. So an Arcane Reactor doubles your point value. Well, the number at the top right of every mod is the power drain that is going to hit the Warframe. The only place where that is not the case is with Aura mods. So let's say we put Steel Charge on here, right? Well, if this is 9, right, in these bottom slots, it's going to half this number. Up here, as long as you match the matter eye symbol, which is that missing chunk of K, looks kind of like a K or a backwards Y, it's going to double it. Now we have 78 points to work with. Now, is this the best aura to use for Volt? Absolutely not. But this is what we're going to use, okay? Just for the purposes of just because. Because the first and foremost goal, especially early on, is to get yourself as much points as humanly possible to survive. So, how do you build Volt? Interesting, right? A lot of people overlook the most glaringly obvious thing in the game. What does the Warframe do? He has an ability called Shock. So basically, he sends out a chain link bolt of lightning that can hit potentially multiple targets at a minimum of 1. At base, upwards of 5. Now, you only have 150 energy to work with. You got to take that into account. So the energy draw is, it uses 25 energy every time you use it to potentially hit 5 targets for up to 200 points of electrical damage, and it reaches 15 meters. Now, what does that tell you? That tells you that there's a cap on enemies. That tells you that there is a damage base and that there is a range base. So right off the get, you know that the range and the damage, so the range and the strength, definitely need a buff. Okay, so let's focus on that, right? Just because I know this, Intensify is an ability strength mod. Range is going to be, let's go for just base mods here, okay? Nothing crazy. Nothing fucking crazy. Range is an ability called, or a mod called Stretch. So now we have 130% ability strength, 145% ability range, right? Pretty simple. So, second ability, go fast. Now you have duration in the equation, right? You've got a radius now of 36.25 meters just by adding Stretch on there. You've got a speed multiplier and a reload speed, helped with the ability strength. Overall duration of 10 seconds, still an energy draw of 25. Now with only having 150, that means that your first two abilities are going to cost you 50 if you cast one each. So that's, you know, a third of your fucking energy. So how do we fix that problem with a third of your energy? You apply flow. Now you have 300. Means that your energy economy has just gone up just a bit. Not much, because the economy itself is still the same. Energy economy is basically just how much it costs you to use said abilities. But at least you have more energy to work with something that could potentially draw energy. So how do we fix energy economy? Well, that's a thing in itself. Energy economy, streamline. Let's add ability efficiency to this. Right, so now we're at 130%. We're at 145% range, 130% strength, and 300 energy. But we're still what a lot of us like to call squishy. 300 health, 450 shields. Now the first ability, it doesn't say it in the description, and sometimes you have to read between the lines here, but the first ability is that when you throw this motherfucker, it starts building over shields, which is shields above the total cap shield. So, like if you see somebody playing in a video and all of a sudden their shield number turns from a blue to a purple, that's over shields. That means that you are above what your normal shield cap is. Okay. Average sprint speed for any Warframe is a 1. So if you see something like Loki with like I think a 1.2 or something like that, or a 1.1, anything like that is good. Anything below means they're a little slow. Excuse me. But see, we see a new thing with speed here, duration. Well, how do we get duration? Well, there's duration right here. So this thing has a time limit. So how do we get duration? Ability duration. So now we're at 130, 130, 145, and 130. But we're still squishy. So early in the game, something you always have to remember, and see the problem is that all these are maxed, okay? And I've got an Arcane Reactor on here. You know, no Forma, no polarizations, we'll go over that. Because these are pre-polarized slots. Because you'll notice, if I take Stretch and move it, it's a 9-point draw. But if I stick it over here, it's a 5-point draw, because it basically halves it, or the closest thing to it if it's an odd number. So that's what a polarization does, is that if you apply a Forma to a slot with one of these matching schools, which is that little symbol up at the top. So you've got, you know, Materai, Bazarin, Naramon, Zeneric, Umbra, Exilus, which you'll see that symbol right there, Augments, and Auras, which is that symbol right up here at the top, right? So, but if you do something that matches the symbol in the top right-hand corner next to the number, you will, you know, by applying a Forma, you will half the energy draw, right? So we're at the point where we have worked on the abilities just with the first two. Now we get to shields. Well, now we've applied ability strength. We've applied, you know, ability efficiency. We've applied duration. You know, we've applied damage. Okay. And then discharge kind of has them all. It's got radius, effect radius, duration, damage per second, and effect duration. So yeah. So this is, as far as low-end mods go, not a terrible thing, right? Not a terrible thing at all. So, what next? How do we make him less squishy, right? Well, that's where some Vazarin mods come in. They are more of protecting and making you a little bit more healthy and blah, 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 blah. So we'll go into, and again, you're not going to have these mods maxed. You're probably going to have flawed versions of these mods. But we'll go into Vitality and Base Redirection. Now we're down to 14 fucking points, but now we have 1,110 shields and 740 health. Right. Now, can we get more energy? Sure. Of course you can. It requires better mods. Something like, if you want to do, you know, a better streamline, you can use a corrupted mod that you farm on Deimos. Fleeting expertise gives you better efficiency, but you lose duration. That's not necessarily the best thing with Volt. Later in the game, it's not a killer, but it's still not the best thing in the world. But you started getting into legendary mods called primed mods. So instead of having 150 energy, you can have 275% energy. Takes you up to 425 energy. Makes a big difference. So legendary mods are definitely something to strive for. But all these mods have a cost, right? So what else can we put on here to make him functional? Functional. Well, we know the first ability builds over shields and shocks enemies. The second one speeds you up, gives you faster reload speed, so on and so forth, and has a base duration. Cool. The third ability creates a shield, which helps protect you, helps keep and buff your overshields, and also helps you do more damage to enemies. And then the fourth ability is basically a map controller slash map damager. So what else can we do to this guy with just base mods that's going to make him a little bit better? Right? What else can we do that's going to make him a little bit better? Well, if you get the easy drop, let's say you get the easy drop at, excuse me, at Cetus, for example. Augur Message. Not a hard one to get at Cetus. Just run Cetus bounties. Put Augur Message on there, right? So now we've got 154% ability duration, which means now you've got a 15.4 second duration here. You've got a 38.5 second duration here. No duration there. And then Dispensary has a effect duration of 9.24 seconds. And an overall 4-second duration of the ability cast itself. And then damage per second is obviously due to ability strength and duration combo. So, but this is a decent little setup. Well, what about these? What are arcanes? Arcanes are buffers. Okay, arcanes are extra buffers. Right? So you can come into here and you can figure out what's going to help the most. Well, there's some in here that are going to be really difficult to fucking find because they're legendary, like Arcane Energize, Arcane Grace, things like that. Those are very, and I don't even have all the arcanes. I'm still missing Arcane Barrier and a few others. But it just really depends on what you're doing. Like, magnetic damage is a very, very, very bad thing for Warframes because it saps your energy. That's something that you can help yourself with. You can apply. Like, I've got a couple of them maxed out, and I'm actually working on another one because I do sell stuff, which is why my plat's gone up. But like Arcane Nullifier, it's not a bad thing to have. Not a bad thing to have at all. It helps if, you know, like infested or if corrupted, or I'm sorry, well, corrupted, yeah. Or if Corpus throw magnetic damage at you, it doesn't sap your energy. Or an Eidolon, right? Which is where you get this mod from. So, we have Arcane Nullifier. Well, you've got 2 spots. Might as well find another one, right? Well, you don't want to get hit with slash damage because that's the worst. Slash damage almost always cuts directly to health. But you can also do other things, like knock enemies on their butts. Arcane Eruption. Every time you pick up an energy orb, you have a 100% chance to knock down basically all nearby enemies. Sorry. You can do things like Arcane Momentum if you like to run sniper rifles, you know, on a critical hit. Sniper rifles do that quite a bit. You know, 150% reload speed for sniper rifles for 12 seconds. Each one of these things gives you a cool buff, right? What is it? Arcane Tempo. If you like running shotguns, you know. Actually, I think I can upgrade that one right now. Cool. Let me just get that out of my view. Arcane Warmth is resistance to cold status effects. Very handy. Very, very, very handy. Arcane Trickery on a finisher kill, becomes immune to status, or become invisible for 15 seconds. Arcane Tempo On a critical hit, 15% chance for a plus 90% fire rate to shotguns. Considering how powerful shotguns are in this game, it's not a bad idea. Here, let's upgrade that one too. Didn't realize I had enough for that one. You can tell I haven't paid attention. So let's say for the sake of argument here, let's go for something that does critical, right? Actually, you know what? Let's go full protection. Let's go for slash protection. Okay, so we're going to do nullifier and slash protection. Just going to help. Just because. Because this fucker doesn't have that much. He doesn't have it. No, I mean, now with this particular ability, he's got a fair amount of shields and a fair amount of health. But is this something high level worthy? No, not really. Not this particular setup, it's not. But is this something to get you through the base star chart? Oh, absolutely. The problem is that it costs you something. Everything is give and take in this game, right? Holy God, I need to sell some mods. Let's cover the mod bench. So, let's not look at duplicates. Let's go by name. Okay. Here, you know what? Let's look at Warframe only. So, vitality. Okay, well, just for the sake of fucking argument here, let's go to vitality. Steel fiber, thieves wood. I mean, steel fiber would work too. There's vitality. Okay, so I've got 24 extra vitality mods, right? Well, let's say for the sake of argument, you want to see how much it costs to rank up one of these motherfuckers. So you do fusion. Okay, you click one mod or fusion. Transmute mods means you take 4 extra mods that you have. Specifically, the more rare, the better, because especially if you have extras, you're trying to get something more rare. If you do 4 commons, you're probably going to kick back a common. Okay? But they need to be unranked mods. And there you go. But let's say for the sake of argument, you want to get the maximum health possible out of a vitality. Well, you need 10,000 endo and 494,000 credits. I am here to tell you that in the early levels, that is not something you're going to have. You're going to be more like in this range. Okay? So let's say a 9-point vitality. Let's also say, for the sake of argument, we go over to redirection. Do fusion. Probably an 11-point redirection, right? So a 9-point vitality and an 11-point redirection. So let's see what that looks like on here, because it does cost a lot to do this, and that's not out of the realm of reach of what you can do. It's like 1240 endo and some cred. Redirection. So an 11-point redirection instead of 14, and then a 9-point vitality. That now drops you down to 620 health and 930 shields, but the rest of these are actually fairly affordable to upgrade. But this is an affordable build. This is a economical build that is mostly survivable on the base star chart, within reason. But it's a matter of playing the abilities, right? You gotta understand how to play them. You gotta understand what they do, and that just takes practice. But into weapons, I'll show you Polarized Weapons. Now, the Amprex is a weapon that at face value, sorry about that, at face value, the Amprex looks like total trash. It really does. I'll be the first to admit it. I actually sold mine initially because it looks like total fucking trash. But I put 6 Forma into this fucking thing. Okay? So let's just get rid of... Let's see, can we tell where I did the 6 Forma? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Axilla slot most of the time is already polarized to some school. It's not always the school you want, but it's polarized to some school. But like I said, if you do polarizations, this has got an Orcan catalyst on it. You got to remember, Orcan reactors are for Necromechs and Warframes and Archwings. Orcan catalysts double the point value for weaponry. Okay? So let's say we want to make a really good mod. Well, we already know that we've got 4 of these Matter Eye slots polarized. So let's find 4 good Matter Eye mods. Right? So, Galvanized Chamber. That's a good one. Hunter Munitions. That's a good one. And we'll go over why. I'm not just going to throw these on and just not give a fucking reason. We'll debate about Prime Shred for a minute. Vital Sense. We'll go on about that. Critical delay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and, you know what, just for the sake of argument here, we'll do new Prime Shred. Why not? I don't even know. I didn't even look at the other build to see what it's like. Okay, so now we have. Whoops. Well, that's the other build. That's the other really. Yeah, Prime Shred's on there. Okay. So now we're looking for damage because it says we're only doing 39 total points of damage. It's a lie. Trust me. But now we've got 2 Vazarin slots, right? Well, Galvanized Aptitude, never a bad idea because of status chance, prime cryo rounds right here. So now what else can we put in this last fucking slot? Well, what works good with cold? Right? What works good with cold? Toxin. Toxin works good with cold. Is it Malignant Force, I think? Maybe. It's a gold mod. Yeah, Malignant Force right there. So we'll take a 60/60 mod and stick it on there. So now we have Malignant Force. Now again, I didn't really take a close look, but I'm assuming that's a close match. Now we still have 4 points left, right? And we still have the Exilus slot, which is like the extra bonus goody-goody slot, right? So what can we put in here? We can put ammunition. We can put all sorts of stuff in here. Personally, because this is a beam weapon, I want it to do reach. Reaching damage. So beam length, right? Put that bitch over here. Now the reason the reload speed is different is because I did not put an arcane on there because you can only get these arcanes through the steel path. Okay. So what I just did is I just did Stackable multi-shot. This is a mod that you can only get either from plat buying off the market, or you can use split chamber in its place to give you guaranteed 90% multi-shot, I think. Vital Sense is critical damage. Critical damage is the multiplier. Okay. Prime Shred is fire rate and punch through. Get into why that's kind of a thing. Hunter Munitions is when you get a 30% chance to apply slash damage. I said slash was good. On any critical. Well, I just set the critical chance to 96% with critical delay. Critical delay takes away 20% of your fire rate, hence why I put Prime Shred on there to make the fire rate go back up, and you gain that 20% that you lost with critical delay back, but you also get an additional 35 on top of the base fire rate, right? Galvanized Aptitude is a stackable status mod. If you don't have Galvanized Aptitude, you can just use Rifle Aptitude. That's perfectly fine because it's a 90% status chance. Malignant Force is a toxin, a plus 60% toxin and a plus 60% status chance, which means you have an opportunity to apply that type of damage or any type of elemental damage or any type of damage in general, whatever the weapon does, to the enemy. And then Prime Cryo Rounds is just a really high-powered cold mod. And we obviously covered Sinister Reach. Okay? I know, this probably sounds like jargon to any new players. The way you tell, though, is this, alright? Damn the polarizations. Of course. I'm going to have to go in and out because it's being stupid. Yeah, let's just take them all off. Thank you. Okay. The way you tell is this. The mod dictates to you what it does. Or the weapon dictates to you what it does. It tells you how fast it fires, tells you what its magazine size is, how accurate it is, if it has multi-shot, if it has punch-through, what its reload time is, what type of trigger fire it is, whether it's a you know, semi-auto, burst auto, hold, you know, or held. But then it starts getting into damages. So critical chance, critical multiplier, which is basically just a multiplication of the critical damage that you do, status chance, what the base damage types are, which this one is electricity only, and then what the total estimated damage for the weapon is supposed to be. Simple, right? The way I look at it is very simple. And again, this is coming from the filthy casual player of I just like to have fun. You can build, because this one is a 32% critical chance with a 22% status chance, you can build this for higher crit and decent status. Now, some of them are going to be like an 8% status chance with like a 25%, or I'm sorry, an 8% crit chance with like a 1.8 multiplier and like a 25% status chance. Well, it's automatically going to tell you build the damn thing for status. Don't waste your time with crit because you're never going to get anywhere with it. So this one being a higher crit, my normal build for this being a 6 polarization build with a Steel Path Arcane on here is this. 96% crit chance, 4.8 critical damage multiplier, 52.8% status, doing 22 points of electricity, 49.5 points of viral damage, which viral just destroys health. And the reason I did viral is very specifically because of the 30% chance to apply slash on a critical, because it's got such a high probability of hitting a critical hit. It's got a pretty decent probability of hitting slash damage. If it slashes, it's going to cut through armor and go straight to health, and viral destroys health. Okay? How do I know this? Well, Wikipedia, for one, is my best friend, right? Wikipedia is my friend. There are damage types per faction, okay? First and foremost, I have to tell you 100% that heat and slash are the two most detrimental damages in this game. Heat damages armor of every kind. Slash cuts through every kind of armor. Simple, end of story. That is just a guarantee of damage types in this game, okay? But if you go against the Corpus, your best two types of damage, number one is magnetic, number two is radiation. Radiation only really truly affects robotics to where magnetic affects them all. Okay. But it's best to have, if possible, and this isn't a guarantee by any means, this is just kind of like the recommended way to go. Higher status chance, good crit chances, never a bad thing. Great crit chances, never a bad thing. But higher status chance, and radiation will most certainly affect lower level players too, but radiation really truly is meant to affect robotics or enemies that are very, very much weakened by radiation, because radiation can cause confusion and actually kind of do what I like to call the bum fights, which is they'll start fighting each other out of just sheer confusion. If you go against Grineer, very good to use corrosive because they're very heavily armor plated enemies. They're the tankier of all the enemies aside from amalgams, but it's best to use corrosive damage, especially on, you know, at lower level modding. It's best to try to use corrosive damage, because corrosive cuts through their armor and allows you to get straight to their health with whatever other type of damage you're doing. Okay. Magnetic is really kind of shit against a Grineer. High crit is really recommended against a Grineer. So high crit with corrosive damage is really kind of the direction I want to go. Corrupted as well. Very, you know, corrosive, high crit, very good idea. Infested, base heat and slash, or gas damage, surprisingly, does a very, very good job. Base toxin procs don't work as well against the infested because they're already infested with toxin and viral shit, so base toxin procs by themselves don't necessarily do it very good. They will still damage them if you're doing a lot of it, but if you're doing smaller amounts of damage, kind of is what it is. But if nothing else, take this away from damages, right? Gas is heat and toxin. Okay, it's a combination of heat and toxin. Blast is hot and cold. Okay, corrosive, toxin and electricity. Magnetic, cold and electricity. Radiation, heat and electricity. Viral is toxin and cold. Those are your 6 combo types of elemental damage, or you can just do the base of heat or toxin or cold or electrical. So you have 4 base elements that can create 6 other combination elements. And then you've also got three physical damages: impact, puncture, and slash. Impact is meh, puncture is meh, slash. But this applies to every weapon type, okay? This really does. This applies to every weapon type. If you look at the critical chance, the critical multiplier, and the status chance, it will dictate to you how the weapon needs to be built. Some weapons just have god-awful stats, and they turn into mastery fodder really quickly. You know, I've seen there's some weapons out there with like a 0.5 critical chance with like a 1.5 multiplier and like a 12% fucking status chance. That's gonna be a poop weapon for the most part. But is it worth it to do a weapon like the Amprex to do 6 polarizations? I mean, is it really? Let's take this base build, okay? Right? Let's take this base build, 630 health, 930 shields, right? And if you're in a dojo, you can get yourself, because focus schools are a thing that come in the future, but you can get yourself energy drops. At a worst case scenario, you can build energy drops and apply them to your gear wheel. Okay? So just to prove the point, we're just going to use this base volt and this Amprex, nothing else. Let's go somewhere, let's say, let's do a capture mission. 7 to 9 on Mercury, right? Because this isn't out of the realm of a starting player. You know, it's a quick mission. Capture type missions are always very quick style missions.
We received intel that somebody vital to enemy operations.
You can drop energy.
Find them and capture them.
Just stand here. Wait for it. It's going to pulse energy for 30. It's going to do 4 pulses of energy. So we're at our cap of energy, right? 300. So here we go. Let's go play. Is it worth it to do 6 Forma? I'd say so. You're not doing high amounts of damage, but you're doing high critical damage.
Our target is in the vicinity. Find them.
Who's over here? See, abilities. Zap him. Now I'm in overshields. And he's dead as shit. Now if I want to go fast, let's go fast. Shock him, got shields. Shock him, got more shields. Check this out. 4th ability, right? Discharge. So this asshole done run off on me. Where you going? Where you going? See? Now you take your weapon and hit him. Now you're almost out of energy. That is true. Almost out of energy. Now, look at his run. Anybody gets in your way, just shoot him.
Change of plans. Ignore
of course, it would be change of plans.
Leave nothing alive.
See, the Amprex is a chain gun, though. Okay, so it chains and hits more enemies. So one quick pulse of the beam, and you hit adjacent enemies, which is very good. Okay. And you see the slash damage pop up there. You know, mild yellow critical slash. So reload while you have a second. Always try to keep yourself reloaded. See? Quick pop. Dead. Poof. Wow. Part. Really? Poof. Dead. Let's kill like 4 of them over there. See, the Amprex seems like an absolute joke, but built properly, it's actually kind of a menace to society.
The enemy is broken. Well done. Now get to extraction.
I mean, look at that. Just kill a crowd of these assholes. See, so now we hit the speed if we want to go. Like, if you don't want to fight any more enemies and you just want to get the hell out of the mission, just do it. Boom. Right? I mean, it's just that simple. And look, you got a large health restore. Yippee. Modding comes down to finding credits, finding endo, which again, Wikipedia is your best friend. Bounties can give you endo. I have a cyst on my neck. What the hell? You know, bounties give you endo. You know, missions, enemies drop endo. I mean, there's all sorts of things that you can do. But, you know, everything is the same. Everything, like, this is a high status setup, right? Stupid low crit, stupid low multiplier, very high status. Pretty decent speed, right? The Athodai, this is kind of an aged build, I'm sure. Oh, yeah, that's very aged. You know, but kind of poop status, poop crit, poop multiplier. It is what it is. It's just there to kind of help. You know, heat, viral, and puncture, whatever. It kind of is what it is, right? So, but that's, like, the best thing I can tell you is that your mod bench, like, if you're trying to get better mods, let's say you're trying to get better mods, okay? So, let's just see here. Oh my goodness, come on. You know what? That's easy to get. Here, that's easy to get. Oh, I'm gonna. You son of a bitch. Select two. Oh yeah, okay, I do have two. Sorry. Yeah, that's easy to get. And that's stupid easy to get too. I know that sounds stupid. So you transmute 4 mods. So I picked 4 rare mods, or 3 rare mods and 1 uncommon. And you do this. What do we get? Ooh, Perpetual Agony. So a common mod drop. Is it worth it to do it, or is it worth it to just sell the mods for endo? Don't ever sell your mods for credits. You can always farm credits and missions, but endo is the harder to find. So always go by endo. Like the reason I have this much endo, which I did have like almost 500,000 at one point, but I was upgrading a bunch of big boy mods. But the reason that I even have this much endo is because of running arbitrations and running Steel Path. So, and primarily arbitrations. You know, but then also selling duplicate mods, right? I mean, that's the key. Don't ever sell them for credits. Always dissolve them for endo. Okay? And Iatan sculptures, once you unlock Mars and you do... Oh, what is the name of that damn quest? With Maru. I can never remember that one. Stolen Dreams. Stolen Dreams. It's one where you go meet Maru. But once you go meet Maru, you can go get sculptures and then socket them with Iatan stars that you pick up in missions. So when you see those Iatan stars pop up, get them and don't sell just the stars. Use the stars for whenever you get sculptures. Okay? Because you don't get very much endo for stars. Okay? But you do get a decent chunk of endo when you're selling sculptures. So it's worthwhile to really kind of search maps and look for sculptures. Just saying. So that's the Warframe and weapon video. If you have any questions, leave me a comment down below. I'd be more than happy to answer it. But again, base volt, right? Base volt. Now, I mean, before I finish, I will show you, you know, like I've shown in previous videos, what can happen if you do some bonkers shit, right? And yes, you can see I still run the Paracesis since I did the quest, because I've just been having fun with it. So Lavos. I've got 6 Forma in Lavos, and I still have 2 extra points. But now he has 2140 health, 1541 armor, 0 energy, which is normal. Shields are kind of a non-factor. 100% duration, which is whatever. 175% range, 315% ability strength. Efficiency's moot because it's based off of the 3rd ability. But then I'm beefing him with arcanes from Arcane Grace and Arcane Guardian for both health and armor, right? But I got 6 Forma there. The Corinth Prime, 4 Forma there, so I'm up to 10 Forma, but I've got a very powerful shotgun out of the deal, right? That's a thing. The Kuva Nucor. After hunting a Kuva Lich, you can get this particular weapon if that's what the Kuva Larvaling pops whenever you go spawn it. Kuva Nucor, another 5, so we're up to 15 Forma now, okay? And it's an extremely ridiculous high status chance weapon. It fucks shit up. Is this a perfect build? Absolutely not. Does it melt enemies? Yep. Yes, it does. And then a Paracesis, another 5, so we're up to 20 Forma. Okay, and yeah, you can see this shit's all fucked up because this is actually a speed viral crit build. Speed viral crit slash build, even though the viral is higher than the slash, which you would like that to be vice versa if possible, but it is what it is. Because heavy blades, in my opinion, for my playstyle are too slow. Some people love the speed of heavy blades being in the, 0.9 to 1 range, and that's fine. Me personally, I like to swing for the fences like a crackhead, so that's just me. But it is what it is. So yeah, that's 20 Forma right there. And then my companion, I've got another 3 Forma here. Yeah, very much so. Very much so. We'll get into companions, okay? But for now, that is the Warframe and weapon modding, polarization, reactors and catalysts, and just general how to know how to build your weapons. And the whole how to build your weapons, the crit chance, the crit multiplier, and the status chance is the same application across primary, secondaries, and melees. So it's really just understanding what's the best bang for your buck when it comes to mods, compared to what mods you have. Sometimes you just don't have the mods to build to the crit or build to the status, so you just build the best that you can until you do. But that's also where, look up on Wikipedia. What's a crit mod for melee, comma, Warframe? What's a crit mod for primary or for shotguns, comma, Warframe? It's really that simple. So folks, thanks very much for watching. This is part 1 of 5 of this insane level of holy hell of video tutorials to try to help you guys understand how to work your shit a little better, right? So, yeah, we'll catch you in the next part of this, all right?